Happy Saturday, everybody. It's 4th of July weekend. Hope everybody's having a great weekend so far. And I'm out here on the farm, my parents' farm. And we've got a little brush cutting to do out here on the impound. So I'm gonna show you guys what we got. It was kind of cool that I posted that video the other day of me out here on the impound. That was like 3 years ago. I was like 2019. And you can see since then I've come through here actually with that brush cutter, and that video is on my channel as well. I'll find it and put a link in the description below. But I came through here with that about a year or so ago. We brush cut all of this down, cleaned it up. Look at that. Is that an osprey? Egret? What is that? I don't know. Anyway, and I've kind of just cleared out little areas through here. We didn't want to just take everything out, but we did want to kind of open up some areas so we could have visibility through here. We do have a serious problem with beavers in here. We also have a serious problem with muskrats. I've never actually seen a muskrat in here myself personally. The neighbor's dog actually came down here like 4 or 5 years ago and caught one. Somehow, I guess he rooted down in one of these holes and he brought it back to the house dead as hell. That's the only, visual evidence we know that they're in here other than the holes that they dig. And we've got beavers in here. I've seen a couple gators, small ones, but we have had those in here as well. But we like the trees. This is natural all through here. A lot of people complain about the trees, gonna make holes through the dam. If they do, it's not a big deal. This isn't a pond, it's an impound. We have a way to lower the water. There's a control gate down there at the end. You guys have seen probably on my videos. The water is really low, and if there's a hole through here, it's not hard to bring the mini down here, collapse it, fill it back in, on you go. So no big deal. But I just want to clean up where some of these edges and stuff so this doesn't get too overgrown. It needs to be mowed, cleaned up a little bit, but it looks a lot better than what it did. So got the OG MTL down here. I love this brush cutter. I don't use it as much as I used to anymore because I've got the mulcher. I have had a few projects lately where I could have used it, but it was either all the way back at the shop and just wasn't worth it for me to go get it. But I had a project down the road on Friday, and I was like, I kind of planned to come do this today, so I was like, I'm gonna throw the brush cutter on there too. And I really like this for mowing down here on this impound over the mulcher, because there's not really much down here that it can't handle, especially now. But even when I did it before, most of the stuff was like 2-3 inches. This thing is rated to handle 5-inch material, and it's a lot lighter than the mulcher. So the threat of tipping this machine over with this is almost non-existent. Where the mulcher weighs 1,000 pounds, this thing weighs like 300 or 400. And I really like using it. A shout out to Clint. He got one. He's running a 42-inch on an 040, and I think so far he's really loving it. This is the 36-inch, and I've really liked it so far. It's really kind of what got me into the business of doing mulching work with the Mini, is when I got this and I could kind of see what kind of cool projects you could do once you could start, doing ditches and ponds with a mower. Then we got the mulcher, and then, this kind of led into that. So if you're looking to get into that kind of work, this is a good place to start. These are relatively cheap compared to a mulcher, where a mulcher is going to run for something like this. A mulcher is going to run you probably 20 to 30 grand, based on the brand you get and the taxes. You can get one of these for somewhere from 3 to 5 grand typically, depending on the size that you get. And then also a flail mower is a really good starting point too if you've got a little more in your budget. Most of the flail mowers are 8 to 12 grand. A flail mower is sort of like a light mulcher. They're not quite a mulcher, but they're better than the brush cutter. I know I've never used it, but the one made by Reaper Attachments looks really badass from what I've seen online. But I've never used it or run it, so don't quote me on that, but just from what I've seen, it looks pretty cool. But all right, let's get started. All right, everybody, that's today's fun. Got all the way down there, well, you can see all the way down there to the corner. Took me about 5 hours or so to do this whole stretch from the beginning down there all the way down to that corner. And so that's pretty good. Some stuff I wasn't able to get. The machine just didn't quite have the reach in some areas to get some of that stuff, but I got most of it up through here. And the big part was like right here, so we can have visibility. I mean, some of this stuff was growed up pretty high. I mean, you couldn't hardly see the water out there, so that'll work nicely. I didn't get a chance to film it. Kind of caught me by surprise, but it looks like we do have an alligator in here again. He's not very big. He's maybe 4 or 5 feet based on the size. All I saw was the top of his head, but I mean, when I saw it, I mean, it was like he was like right there. It wasn't like he was way down there and I only saw a glimpse of him. Like, I walked right up to him, but he had his whole body submerged. He just had his head sitting up, and it wasn't a very big head. So he's probably somewhere between 4 to 6 feet in that ballpark. So he's no man eater, but I don't like it. So got to do something about him. Kelly came down here looking for him. I called him, and but I have not seen him since. But that's the 3rd or 4th time that I've you know, doing a pond or whatever, you know, brush cutting or mulching, and the gators will come right to this machine. It's something, I guess they're curious about what, you know, the disturbance in the water, and they want to see what's going on, and they will come right to it. So, I mean, when I stopped, I got out to move the GoPro, and I looked back and I was like, I mean, he was like right there, and I was like, is that a stick? I kind of walked down and he went under, and I was like, oh, that's a gator. And I walked back, walked a little further, and he come right back up, maybe a few feet down from where he'd gone under. And I mean he was like right there. I was like, well, hello. So, all right, well, that's today's fun. Got all this looking good. Beautiful afternoon. It rained on me, kind of drizzled for a minute there, but all of a sudden I woke up this morning, there's a tropical storm off the coast now. I was like, all right, whatever. So, all right, well, I am out of here, guys. Hope you guys enjoyed it. Beautiful afternoon. Enjoy your 4th of July weekend, and I will catch you guys on the next one. Bye, everybody.